So here we go with the promised PlayStation 4 2019 prediction video. Will the PlayStation 5 be revealed this year? And when would that happen? Is Death Stranding, Last of Us Part 2, and Ghost of Tsushima all releasing this year? Are none of them coming out? Is it just going to be one? And does Sony have a hidden, unannounced big exclusive still to be revealed for release in 2019? All that and more right now. What's going on, guys? Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, back again with another video. And if you really enjoyed this prediction video by the end, make sure you give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. I would appreciate it. So, 2018 was a fantastic year for PlayStation. They released God of War, Spider-Man, and a whole slew of other games, sold a metric ton of consoles. But 2018's in the rearview mirror now. It's all about 2019. It's all about what have you done for me lately, and what games will you be putting out this year? Now, some people have said, you know what, Sony's 2019 is looking a little bit sparse. The only big game currently scheduled right now, and I use big game as a AAA project, we know there is a bunch of other ones, is Days Gone. At this point last year, we knew God of War and Spider-Man and Detroit were 2018 titles, but currently, only Days Gone has a release date. So let's get into the predictions, and I'm going to start off the same way I did with the Xbox video, and that's with the most important thing console has to have, and that is games. And I think it's no surprise that Sony's first game they're going to be putting out this year is going to be MLB The Show, which usually comes out around March. Now, I haven't played a baseball game in a long time, but these are highly regarded, highly rated. People love this series. It sells well, it rates well, and I would expect MLB The Show, this year's version, to be just the same. Moving into that big game we talked about, there's Sony's new IP from Sony, Ben, Days Gone, which is coming out, I believe, April 26th. Now, in my personal opinion, I'm not really looking forward to this game. I did that most anticipated for 2019. It didn't make my top 15. I've always said Days Gone looks like the runt of the Sony exclusive litter. It just doesn't have that same impact or visual punch that a lot of other Sony big-time exclusives have had. Now, with that said, I'm still going to play the game. I'm just kind of curious the reception it's going to get. Some of the websites that have played it have said it's okay, but not great, that it needs some fine-tuning. And I think it's going to be received fairly well. I'm going to predict that it's going to get an 82 meta, and it's going to sell actually pretty damn good. I don't know enough to get a sequel, but it should do good for what is on offer. So that's Days Gone, 82 meta, coming out April 26th. And then, for the most part, the rest of Sony's lineup is up in the air. We know some games are set to be released this year, like Concrete Genie, which I am predicting is going to be releasing May 31st and actually score higher than Days Gone and get an 84. It looks like a really cool indie title, even though it's published by Sony. It looks, I'll put it on par with like Ori and the Will of the Wisp, like a smaller game from a smaller team, published by a big-time studio. I'm actually looking forward to Conquer Genie more than Days Gone, as I think the mechanics they're using in that game are fresh. But after that, like it's kind of up in the air, like I mentioned. Like, we don't know Death Stranding, Ghost of Tsushima, and any of those games if they are coming, right? And that was the whole point of making the prediction video, because I'm gonna put my neck out on the line here, and I'm gonna take those three games and ask the question, are all three of them coming out this year? Is it just going to be a combination of two of them? Is it just one? Or is in fact none of them releasing in 2019? That would be a big blow for PlayStation Nation. I think a lot of people expect at least one. That's what I expect. And I've been kind of going back and forth with myself. Yesterday I thought Last of Us 2 and Death Stranding were coming out in 2019. I've heard some rumblings, but then today I'm of a different opinion. Now, I'm not, and you know what? Any of these combinations could be the right one. In fact, I think there's a very distinct possibility that all three of these games slip into 2020. And 2020 would look amazing for Sony in that regard because, quite frankly, I don't think Sony really needs any of those games this year. They're going to be just fine with all the third-party games that come out and some of their partnerships that they do. However, one game, I believe, from the big three will be releasing this year, and I'm going to predict it's Death Stranding, Hideo Kojima's next game or first game after leaving Konami and doing Metal Gear Solid 5. I think Death Stranding comes out on September 6th. I think it's going to get a 90 meta, and people will start once again praising Kojima. Not like they ever stopped praising him, but there's kind of been a backlash against him a little bit here and there. A lot of people didn't like how Metal Gear Solid 5 panned out. It got a 95 on meta, and a lot of people think that it wasn't deserved. It was just the media pandering to him since this whole battle with Konami. But I'm really looking forward to finding out what exactly Death Stranding is. I've watched all the reveal trailers. It's about as vague as possible, which is okay because it's trying to keep up interest in the title. But man, I want to see what you actually do in the game, and I think we're finally going to get it this year. I think it's the one game from those big three that does come out. I mean, he's talking about the game on a daily basis, and I'm going to say it comes out on September 6th, gets an 89 meta. And as for the rest of the games that Sony has on offer, well, I think Medieval comes out, and that actually comes out before Death Stranding. I'm saying June 26th, and it gets a 78 meta. I think they're going to use that Crash Bandicoot release date that works so well for Crash. They're going to use it for Medieval, and I do think there is another unannounced big exclusive for PlayStation this year, and I think it is the Demon's Souls remake. Now, just because I have Death Stranding at September 6th, I'm going to say Demon's Souls comes out in October. Could be November, could be in September. I don't know. I'm just kind of making up these release dates as I go along. Obviously, this is just for fun. It's just for prediction purposes, right? But I feel like Sony is going to hop on that Dark Souls, Bloodborne train, get a remake of Demon's Souls, which is kind of started the whole thing in the first place, remake it just like they did Shadow of the Colossus. Put that out here because they know people will be incredibly disappointed that Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima won't be hitting this year. In fact, maybe even Death Stranding, but that's my prediction is Death Stranding will make it. So they'll say, hey, Demon's Souls is remade, it's coming out this holiday, and I think that will excite a lot of fans of the franchise. Now, when are they going to announce these games, right? As we know, Sony doesn't have an E3 they pulled out of it. A lot of talk has been made about why they pulled out of it. Was it for money issues? Did they really not have anything to show? Is it because they aren't ready to talk about the PlayStation 5 and a lot of their current exclusives that they have yet to show are for the PlayStation 5, presumably like Horizon Zero Dawn 2. Whatever the reason is, it doesn't really matter in this prediction video. But I do think at some point, Sony will put on their own show. Not PSX. I'm not even sure if it'll be like where they invite the press and they get up on stage and talk about it. I think it'll be a more direct approach. Something like Nintendo does, like the Nintendo Direct, where they have a pre-made video or maybe just a stream on Twitch talking about PlayStation in 2019, and this is where they would announce the release dates of perhaps Concrete Genie, Medieval, announce that Death Stranding and give it a release date for that, as well as finally unveil the Demon's Souls remake. I think that actually happens, and it's a smaller affair, right? I think that's also where they announce the price cut for the PS4 Slim, as well as the PS4 Pro. I think both those systems, as well as for Xbox, the Xbox One X and the Xbox One S, also gets price cuts this year. They'll probably detail more PSVR games and when those will come out, but I don't really know much about PSVR, so it's kind of hard to make predictions about it when I don't, I like PSVR, but I get sick when I use it. I get headaches, so I don't really search out news for about VR games that are coming out. And I think they'll also have more crossplay games. We just saw Rocket League get announced as crossplay. I think there'll be more games that Sony's going to open up the floodgate, and we'll start seeing bigger games get announced for crossplay. But at this event, they're going to, not like I said, announce the release dates for all this stuff. And then at PSX 2019, which, they're bringing back after 1 year absence, they'll give a release date for Ghost of Tsushima, which I think is March 2020. They'll run another trailer for Last of Us 2, but there won't be a release date for that. I think that's later in the year for 2020, or perhaps right around the anniversary of the first game, sometime in June of 2020. Maybe they tease Horizon Zero Dawn, but the big reveal will be the announcement of PlayStation 5 formally. You see, I think they'll tease it during the Direct, or what I'm calling the Direct. They'll kind of talk about next gen, but they won't say much. And then at PSX with the fans, kind of a similar thing to what I said yesterday in the Xbox video, where Microsoft will formally reveal the Xbox 5 or 2 or whatever you want to call it with the fans. PlayStation will do the same. They'll reveal the system with the fans, the name, the logo, maybe the look of the system. I don't think they'll talk about specs yet, because I expect there to still be another formal PS5 reveal in early 2019. But all these things could be up in the air, because I think a lot of the reveal of PlayStation 5 is when is it actually coming out, right? If it's set to come out in March of early 2020, then you probably get the reveal at the PlayStation Direct, and then you have a full kind of rundown of some of the exclusives and the specs at PSX 2019, because you only have a few more months until PS5 comes out in March. But I don't think that is the way Sony's going to do it. I don't feel PlayStation 5 is coming out in March. I think it's coming out in November, so I think it would be dumb for Sony, or redundant of Sony, to kind of announce it at the Direct and then talk about it again at PSX and then have another show. So that's why I'm predicting at PSX it'll be the first formal reveal and talk about the PlayStation 5. Either way, 2019, depending on the games that are coming out, I don't think it'll be as strong as 2018. How could it? You had God of War, Game of the Year, and you also had Spider-Man, which was absolutely fantastic. I think a lot of gamers, a lot of PlayStation fans will be disappointed that Last of Us 2 and Ghost are 2020 titles. And really this year kind of comes down to if Days Gone and Death Stranding live up to the hype and are really good. If they are, then maybe it's as good as 2018, maybe it's not. But those are my predictions for PlayStation in 2019. Just Death Stranding, a Demon's Souls remake, a PS Direct sometime after E3, where they announce some new games, full reveal of the announcement of PlayStation 5 at PSX, price cuts, more crossplay games, all that good stuff. And those are my predictions, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a like. Leave your comment below on what you expect to see from PlayStation and Sony this year. And if you do me a favor, make sure you share out the link on Twitter or Facebook with some friends. Hit that sub button if you're new, and right next to that sub button is a little bell icon, notification bell. Hit that if you always want to be notified immediately when I drop new content. Thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and I'll see everybody in the next video. Later, guys.